The long-awaited Peelys Jedi guide is finally here. We've seen the new lightsaber combat, we've seen the new Star Wars skins, but now it's time to see what these two have in store for us. In typical Fortnite fashion, they've done something that no one saw coming. Let's just say there's going to be a lot of people hyped for this. Here's an example of how good the new lightsaber combat looks. Now let's start from the beginning, because if you don't know what any of this means, you're not going to like it at all. You can get the Peelys outfit in two different styles, by either purchasing the 2400 V-Buck bundle, or alternatively, you can purchase the 950 V-Buck version without the accessories. The same goes for Jedi, who also comes with two different styles and can be purchased in either a 2400 V-Buck bundle, which includes the accessories, or a 950 V-Buck version without. For those who want the best value, you can save money by purchasing both of them in a bundle for 3600 V-Bucks. It's also worth mentioning that each character has their own unique back bling, gliders, pickaxes and emotes. Also included in the bundle are 2000 V-Bucks, along with the Razor Crest, which is probably the most iconic vehicle from the entire trailer. As always, there's some additional items you can purchase too. If you spend over $75, you'll receive a digital copy of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and if you spend over $100, you'll get both digital copies, one for Jedi Fallen Order and another for Jedi Survivor. However, if you've already got these games, you don't really need to spend any more money, as this update has freebies up the wazoo. Everyone who logs into Fortnite between May and June will get a total of 4 different items. The first is the lightsaber training emote, which you get just for logging in. The next 3 come from completing different types of matches. So if you play and win a solo, duo, or a trio game, you'll get the accompanying spray, loading screen, and icon respectively. Each of these freebies are only available for 1 week, so make sure to complete them on time. Also, there's an additional 3 challenges which will award you with more sprays. These are simply defeating enemies with a lightsaber, opening a chest with a lightsaber, and casting a spell. We don't know exactly what that last one means, but we assume it's casting a spell with your lightsaber. Aside from the in-game items, there's also going to be some IRL giveaways happening on Twitch. Every day, until June, a different streamer will be hosting a stream where they'll be giving away lightsabers. All you need to do to enter is watch their stream and then follow the instructions. There's only going to be 1 winner per stream, though, so you might have to get lucky. The moment we've all been waiting for, the Star Wars cinematic trailer, is actually pretty short, clocking in at just under 2 minutes. It starts off with Finn, who awakens from a nightmare where he sees the destruction of the Millennium Falcon. He gets up and heads over to a computer where he sees the coordinates to a supposed Jedi survivor. We're assuming that this survivor is going to be Juyoth, although it could very well be someone else entirely. This would actually tie in quite nicely with the Mandalorian crossover, as there was a big focus on finding Grogu's people. That scene cuts to Leia, who's sitting down with Rey and Chewbacca. They're looking at a map and discussing their search for Luke. Leia mentions that Luke's absence has been felt throughout the galaxy, suggesting that he could be the key to defeating the First Order. Rey insists that she'll find him regardless of how long it takes. The trailer then shows Rey walking across the desert with BB-8 following behind her. She uses the Force to lift up a rock, suggesting that she's becoming stronger with it. Then we cut to a dark side training area where Kylo Ren is standing above a bunch of Knights of Ren. He addresses them, saying that the Jedi is gone and that they should kneel before their new master. However, one of the knights refuses, saying that they shouldn't kneel to anyone. This makes Kyle turn around and grab the guy by the neck, choke him, and then throw him off the edge. A bunch of knights charge forward and engage in lightsaber combat against Kyle and his cronies. One of the knights ends up taking out the rest of the bad guys, but then he turns around and is greeted by the classic Star Wars menu. It's confirmed that this knight is actually a skin for Fortnite, but it's unclear whether or not there's going to be more skins from this scene. We then cut to the Razor Crest, where Mando and Grogu are preparing to depart. Mando climbs into the cockpit while Grogu stays behind. He opens up the side hatch and looks back at everyone, waving goodbye. Then he turns back around and takes off, leaving everyone in the dust. Mando flies through a bunch of asteroids while evading incoming fire. We don't know who's shooting at him, but it doesn't look like anything he can't handle. After zooming through an asteroid field, he arrives at a new POI, which is apparently called Eclipse. This is actually just a rebranded version of Coruscant from the Clone Wars, which is said to be filled with riches beyond imagination. Apparently, the city holds secrets from all across the galaxy, and it's rumored that Darth Sidious once built a secret base within its walls. Next, we see a bunch of stormtroopers marching forward and destroying everything in sight. A battle then ensues between the stormtroopers and the Rebel Alliance, with Finn leading the charge. He jumps forward and engages in lightsaber combat against some bad guys. In typical Fortnite fashion, the fight quickly escalates into a huge team battle. We see TIE fighters flying overhead while stormtroopers run around on the ground. There's even a walker making appearances and mowing everything down in its path. Finn takes out the walker using his lightsaber, but that just angers Kylo Ren. He runs up behind Finn and tries to strike him down, but Finn blocks the attack and knocks him away. As the two continue to fight, they eventually reach the top of a building where they engage in a more intense lightsaber duel. Kylo manages to block most of Finn's attacks, but he eventually deflects it back at him, knocking him off the edge. Just when it seems like he's about to fall to his death, though, Finn grabs onto his arm and pulls him back up. That's it for the cinematic trailer, but the game mode trailer still has a few more surprises up its sleeve. Things start off with a much more dramatic tone as we see a bunch of knights fighting over a mysterious artifact. Suddenly, Kyle appears, grabs the artifact, and disappears into thin air. The scene quickly cuts to a bunch of stormtroopers storming a building. They burst through the door and arrest a bunch of civilians, including a young boy. The troopers try to take him away, but Leia steps in and tells them to stop. She says that he's coming with her and then walks away with the boy. As they're walking through a corridor, we see some graffiti on the wall that reads, "Hope is not lost." Suddenly the hallway shakes and the ceiling begins to crumble above them. Leia shields the boy with her body, telling him to run and hide, and now things get really exciting. We see Finn jumping across some rooftops while being chased by a bunch of stormtroopers. He narrowly avoids getting hit by an explosion and then hides behind a wall. We also see Mando running through the jungle while trying to avoid being detected. Things then shift to a more light-hearted tone as we see Baby Yoda using the Force to move a ball around. The ball ends up hitting a stormtrooper right in the face and knocking him out. Then we cut to a scene where the player can choose between siding with the Resistance or the First Order. This is likely the main choice that will determine which side you're playing as. But it's unclear how many options there actually are. Will we be able to play as either team, or will we have to choose one and stick with it? Whatever the case may be, it's safe to say that you're gonna have a lot of freedom in this game mode. You'll be able to explore multiple iconic locations from the Star Wars universe, including the forest moon of Endor, the deserts of Jakku, and even the legendary Mos Eisley Cantina. The game mode will also feature some familiar faces, including Han Solo, Princess Leia, R2-D2, C-3PO, and of course Darth Vader. But that's not all. There's also going to be some fan favorites making a comeback, like the Ewok, Tusken Raider, and even a Rancor. As far as gameplay is concerned, it looks like there's going to be a lot of fast-paced action with plenty of lightsaber combat and blaster fire. There's also going to be some heavier emphasis on exploration and stealth, which is probably why Mando and Grogu are in this game mode. All in all, this update is shaping up to be one of the biggest and most exciting ones yet. Whether you're a fan of Star Wars or not, it's hard to deny that the new lightsaber combat looks fun. Plus, with so many iconic characters and locations being included, there's definitely going to be something for everyone.